43-year-old man died Sunday afternoon while playing at a tennis match at Red Rock Country Club. Doctors watching the match rushed to perform CPR, but after 55 minutes of medical attention, Vannah's heart never restarted.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a very sad story that I feel like I should bring some attention to because, quite honestly, this is scary, okay? It is getting scary in regards to what is happening in this country where you have people who are suddenly collapsing and dying out of nowhere from heart-related conditions, whether they have a heart attack, whether they go into a full cardiac arrest. This is something that we have seen spike in this country during the time of the pandemic. Now, again, there are theories about why this may be happening, okay? Is it from the virus itself? Okay, they say that the virus can, cause some type of, myocarditis or some heart issues, or is it from something else having to do with the pandemic that also could, have the side effects of causing myocarditis or some heart issues that they say are short term, okay? But again, we're seeing a whole lot of this, and I think it's time to have a full-fledged investigation into why are we seeing this at such an unprecedented rate in which you have people dying from heart-related conditions. I mean, healthy people, kids, young people, just collapsing, dying, okay? Even the ones that are in shape. It really is something to be concerned about, and it is really, really, really scary. These types of stories, as this one right here we got to talk about. A tennis player died suddenly, collapsed on the tennis court while playing a game. This guy was 43 years old and he was from Las Vegas. So let's read about this because this is scary. Vannah was in the tiebreaker of a mixed doubles tennis match on Sunday afternoon at Red Rock Country Club when he dropped to a knee. The 43-year-old, with a lifelong passion for the sport and whose team at Red Rock Country Club had recently celebrated a pair of national championships, placed his hand on the hard court and lay down. Doctors watching the match rushed to perform CPR, but after 55 minutes of medical attention, his heart never restarted. Wow. So again, he collapsed from what seems to be cardiac arrest. Okay. Again, it's kind of crazy. Vannah's family had a history of high blood pressure and he was on medication. His sister, Tammy Vannah Kang, said he never showed any signs he was not managing the health issue. Yeah, so that's interesting. Because, people can have high blood pressure for numerous reasons. Okay, maybe they have bad diet, maybe they are overweight. Maybe it's genetic. Okay, it could be genetic with this guy because he plays tennis. He looks like he's in incredible shape, okay? And in fact, we're about to read here about how he was very fit and in shape. So who knows? Maybe it was a genetic thing, okay? And they say that he was taking the wrong medications for his blood pressure. That is what the people at the hospital said when he got there, which could have something to do with this happening. But again, it's still kind of crazy to think about, right? That a healthy 43-year-old man just collapses after, playing tennis. Quote, he took impeccable care of his health. She said he was so fit, he lifted weights. He looked like a bodybuilder to me. He was huge. We did not see this coming. Vannah Kang was called at 5:10 p.m. Sunday, moments after her brother collapsed, and found her sister-in-law, Dr. Catherine Vannah, among those trying to revive him. It wasn't until they got to Summerlin Hospital and Medical Center that she and her husband broke down crying. Vannah died at Summerlin Hospital later that day. The doctor and emergency medical staff at Summerlin Hospital said they believe he was on the wrong medication for his blood pressure. The coroner's office had not ruled on an official cause and manner of death as of Tuesday. Vannah was the youngest of 4 children, all raised in Las Vegas. He graduated from Durango High School, where he competed in the state tennis championships. Yeah, so this guy had been active all his life. Again, that's the scary part, right? That's why I'm doing this, because I'm like, again, this is crazy. He was active all his life. I mean, he was in shape. He lifted weights. He did everything you're supposed to do. And he still collapsed at a young age from, again, what appears to be some heart-related condition. In a family full of attorneys and doctors, he pursued tennis full-time after working in security and as an athletic trainer. His sister said he also taught children at local elementary schools, strung other players' rackets for extra cash, and practiced at Red Rock, Darling Tennis Center, and Lifetime in Henderson. Quote, he was a big, giant teddy bear, his sister said. Quote, it only took him a minute to befriend even his opponents. Last week, the Red Rock Country Club gathered to celebrate its second consecutive national championship in the United States Tennis Association League in the 40 and over age group and the 18 and older age group. Vannah was on both teams when they captured titles last year, and his sister said he smiled brightly, surrounded by his teammates and friends. Quote, he and my husband were both on the team, Vannah Kang said. Quote, that was fun to watch. We don't think it's ever been done before. Yeah, so again, this is extremely sad. Again, stories like this are all too frequent. Okay, there's another story that came out earlier this month about a teenager, a girl basketball player, 18 years old, collapsing and dying on a basketball court. Okay, again, almost unheard of before the pandemic. Okay, we hadn't heard of stuff like this. I mean, don't get me wrong, you heard every now and then, but again, it was few and far between. Now it seems like it is almost a daily occurrence. And then you had another high school athlete or student who collapsed and died, 18 years old, experienced cardiac arrest after gym class. Again, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And it definitely doesn't help when you have some people in the mainstream liberal media, like, for example, this MSNBC anchor, Miss Yasmin Bosagan, who came out and talked about how she's very healthy. She runs, she lives an active lifestyle. However, she developed myocarditis, and she claims that it came from a common cold. Take a look.
The health scare. On December 20th, I began to feel chest pains, and they waxed and waned over a period of 10 days. I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, but as they continued to get worse, I started to think something was actually wrong. It was December 30th when I finally went to an urgent care and was told I had reflux. I didn't really buy it, but I was relieved it wasn't my heart. My body, though, was pretty certain not to believe the reflux. The next day, on December 30th, I woke up with severe pains both in my chest and in my left shoulder, and it was like a tightening in my chest. When I took deep breaths, that got worse when I was laying flat. I knew enough at that moment to understand that it could mean, could is the key word here, that I was having a heart attack, especially because it was happening in the left part of my shoulder. I want to remind you, I run 7 miles 3 to 4 times a week, or I did. I do yoga. I don't eat meat. I don't smoke. I drink occasionally. Not right now, though, because my doctor tells me I can't. Aside from probably not getting enough sleep and working too much, I'm a pretty healthy person. But on that day, I was anything but. My husband drove me to the emergency room, and from there, the nightmare that has been my January began. I was diagnosed with pericarditis, inflammation of the lining of my heart, brought on by a virus, a literal common cold. I also had fluid around my heart that had to be drained, or else it could hinder the beating of my heart. I was hospitalized for 4 nights and transferred from a local hospital to NYU Langone here in New York City. On January 4th, I was finally discharged after doctors drained the fluid around my heart, and I bounced out of the hospital. I couldn't get out of there fast enough with the hopes I was on the mend. But that was not the end. 3 days later, I was readmitted when I felt a flutter in my heart, like a butterfly. It was inside my chest. They determined I had developed myocarditis, inflammation of the actual heart now, the heart muscle. I remember being shepherded through the emergency room and wondering, is this it? It wasn't, thank God. Instead, I spent 5 more days in the hospital where they ran a battery of tests, adjusted my meds, and made sure nothing else was fueling what was happening. And in fact, in the end, it was still just the cold that was doing all of this, that had caused all of this inflammation in and around my heart.
The common cold, she says, right? This is what she says. A common cold caused all that inflammation around her heart. Interesting. Oh, man. Yeah. Again, I think that this is not good, right? What is happening in this country with people collapsing and all of a sudden having these heart issues is not good. And it's definitely something that should be investigated and looked into, because something is terribly wrong, really wrong. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.